Have you ever wondered, why is my child having such a hard time with reading? Or maybe it's spelling, or maybe it's just writing in general. Why are they struggling? You've probably done a lot of really great things for them. You probably read to them. You've probably worked on writing or spelling or letters. You've probably talked to them maybe about sight words. Maybe you've done some apps that have some fun games on it. You've tried these things and you send them to school, or you're homeschooling. So you're working on it at home, or you're sending them to school and they're doing it at school. And you're going, what is not clicking for them? What's going on? If that's the case, you're not alone. You are not anywhere close to being alone. Did you know 66% of American children are not proficiently reading by 4th grade in schools? 66, 2/3 of American children are behind. That's a lot. So you're definitely not alone. You've probably felt some confusion around what to do. Maybe even helpless when these challenges arise. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not the teacher. You maybe thought all these things. Now, it's really common to feel overwhelmed. It's really common to feel guilty, like I haven't done enough, but I'm here to tell you it is not your fault. And 100%, there is hope for your child, more than hope. Your child will thrive if we can get them on the right path. Now, in the next 15 minutes or so, I am going to be sharing the key to helping your child overcome the reading struggles that they've experienced using strategies that are brain-based, intentional, and neurodivergent friendly. Meaning if your child thinks or learns differently than other kiddos, this is the place to be. I am so excited that you are here. We're going to make reading a success story for your family. Now, your child might be complaining about tummy aches before they go to school. They might be acting out in class, getting in trouble. And you're like, who is this kid? Why are you doing this? They might dread going to school. Maybe they fight you. I don't want to go to school. Just let me stay home. They're dragging their feet with homework. They're getting poor grades. You're getting emails from teachers that are concerned. When you're reading with them, you might notice they're skipping words. They're guessing words. They're just looking at the picture and telling you what they see there and saying, is that what it says? If any of that sounds familiar, you are in the right place. And as parents, it's easy to wonder, is there something wrong with my child? Is it something I did? Is it the school's fault? But like I said here, the sad fact is that so many kids are behind. But it doesn't mean your child can't succeed. Schools are doing their best. Teachers are doing everything they can, but with large class sizes, with limited resources, with more and more being piled on their shoulder, it's becoming more and more important that parents are targeting these skills at home. Knowing that your involvement in everything you do to help your child makes a massive difference in their present and how they're feeling right now as they walk into school, and of course in their future. Now, it's important for us to know what doesn't work so that we can leave those things in the past. Stop doing the things that are not moving our child forward, in some cases holding them back. For instance, leveled readers. Let's leave them in the past. They don't tell us any information about what specific skills your child needs. They don't tell us anything about how to move them forward. So leveled readers are something we can leave behind. Flashcards, sight word, and I'm going to be more specific, sight word flashcards, leave them behind. There are more effective ways to help our kids learn how to decode, learn how to read. Sight word flashcards, not it. In fact, these are kind of like Band-Aids. They lead to something, these two things in particular, lead to something called the illusion of knowing. Because in the moment, when you're reading a leveled reader, it can feel like, oh my gosh, they went from level B to level C. This is amazing. They went from level J to level K. This is amazing. In the moment, it might be like, oh, they knew all their flashcards today. We got through all the flashcards. So it looks like they're on this path to success. But because they're learning in a way that doesn't bring skills to mastery, that doesn't put them into long-term memory, that appearance that they know how to do it and they're good to go, it fades away. They don't have those skills mastered. In about a week from now, if you didn't touch those again, would they still know all those words? Would they still be able to read that book? And if the answer is no, you have what's called the illusion of knowing. It feels good in the moment, doesn't last very long. And that's kind of why I have big red flags around these guys, is because it can feel good for a minute and appear like they're on track, but they are not really on track. And it's actually putting them further behind because you could have been using that time doing things that really teaches them how to read, how to decode, how to spell in a way that sticks. So that's why I want to leave these two things, especially because they're still so common practice, leave them behind. What does your child really need? They need targeted practice. We need to know what are these specific gaps that your child has so that we can fill those gaps in. We need to know what are the specific phonemic awareness skills that they need. Phonemic awareness, which is, can they hear sounds in words? Can they put sounds together to make words? Can they break words apart? We need to be very specific. Do we know specific letters? Okay, the letter Y, they don't know the sound to that. They always say woo when I get to Y, something like that. So very specific letters. Do we know the specific phonics skills? When I say a sound, do they know the different spellings of those sounds? We want to be as specific as possible so that we know what to target. We know what to work on to get them closer to independent reading. Now, there is a lot of benefits of skill-based learning instead of leveled-based learning. When we focus on skills and we teach them in a way that really makes connections in your child's brain, instead of frustration, you're actually going to have shorter learning times because you're targeting just what they need. You're not just like, oh, maybe level D, let's grab that and just read a bunch of level D. You're actually spending shorter time doing learning because it's more effective. You're actually going to see quicker growth in the long run that actually sticks. You're not going to get that instant, oh my gosh, they've memorized this one word, so they're a better reader. What's going to happen instead is you're going to start seeing this compounding effect where all of a sudden, it starts out kind of slow, but it gets faster and faster and faster. And actually, I should have done it. I like the snowball better. It's kind of like the snowball effect where it starts small, feels slow, but eventually it goes faster and faster. And you got a giant snowball by the end of the hill. That's what this does. You're going to see more confidence. You're going to start getting notes from teachers that are like, oh my gosh, I am so impressed. Your child is doing amazing things. That's what happens when you focus on skills and not levels. When we focus on what your child needs and personalizing the journey, you're going to see such amazing results. And when your kids start to feel confident, they're more willing to try. They're bought into it. Like, you know what? I do feel myself growing. I didn't know that word and now I do. And that is half the battle. Getting them to buy in and to try. Oh my gosh. Imagine your child coming home from school and instead of saying, I hate reading, I don't want to do homework, leave me be, they say, Mom, Dad, look at this. Check out what I did today. Can I read it to you? I did this in school today. Imagine that feeling. It's like the best. It is seriously the best. So let me go over our strategy that we have. I want to check our time to make sure. Oh, perfect. We have a specific strategy. We've helped, over 2,500 families get their kids reading at home in 10 minutes a day. And that is our goal. We want kids to be at grade level and learn how to do it at home and take only 10 minutes a day. That is our goal for every family that comes to work with us. And with these thousands of families that we've worked with, we found there are 3 major things we need to have in place in order for you to succeed. And we're going to really target one today. The one that we're going to target a little bit closer is the skills. We're going to talk about what are the skills they need? How do we give them the skills that we need? The 2 other things I'll just touch on briefly. We need to not just be working on reading, but also their confidence and grit. Because guess what? They are going to come up to challenges. Things are going to feel hard. That's one thing we can expect with life, is that sometimes things feel hard. So giving them the skills and intentionally work on building their confidence and building their grit is a huge part of the puzzle that too many things out there don't ever touch on. We believe it's pivotal. We believe it's a core part of helping your child become a good reader, is to make sure we are intentionally working on confidence and grit. The other thing is giving you resources that are quick, because I'm a mom and I understand we can't have things that take hours and hours, that are simple, easy to use. Because again, you're not trying to become a reading specialist, right? You want something that's easy to use and that's fun. Because learning to read can be so much fun. Oh my gosh, you can gamify just about everything. And that's going to get kids engaged in it. It's going to make it fun for the family and making it a bonding experience. So those are the three things: is skills, confidence and grit, and resources. Let's dive a little deeper into the skills part of the triangle here. Make this a little bit smaller. So there are three things when you are figuring out what are the skills my child needs and how do I teach them then this. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I can come in. Let me just move this really quick so it's easier to read. So I'm actually going to shrink this down. If it lets me, come on, let me shrink it. There we go. So we have a little bit more space and I'm going to put it up at the top. Here we go. There are three things we need when it comes to working on skills. The first thing we need is we need to be working in a brain-based way. Brain-based way. So knowing what we know, because in the last couple decades, neuroscientists have shown a lot. They've come to light a lot of ways that our brains actually learn and actually get things to stick. And it's shaping how we teach our kids, because what we found out is when we try to cram things in our kids' brains, when we're trying to do a cram session, I almost think of like tutoring. You send your child to tutoring, they're getting 1 hour of learning once a week. We're cramming it in there, right? That is not brain-based. The brain doesn't love that. The brain isn't going to make that stick in there long term. It does short-term sticking, not long-term. So instead, what we need to be doing is teaching them in a way that builds the neuron connections that are going to stick forever. That's what we want. That's what we want. And how we do it inside of Miss Buddy Reads is we use something called the STARE technique. And I've been studying the different ways that our brains learn and learn long-term, whether you are neurodivergent, whether you're neurotypical, no matter what kind of brain you have, these are the things that we need. And the first one, they're kind of the technical terms, but I'm just going to break it down. And please, it's not wanting to show it on the iPad. That's so, that's okay. Let me just do this. I'll just have to make it a little smaller. That's okay. The first one, the S, is we want spaced retrieval, which means we are spacing out their practice. We're not doing all the learning in one session, because if you do that, the brain doesn't have the chance to really solidify the connections. If you're doing just one learning time a week and focusing on it once a week, it's not enough. That's why we encourage families to do 3 to 5 learning times at home to really make those connections strong. The beauty of that is you only need 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't mean you have to do 1 hour long sessions 3 to 5 times. You need short, and you need, and here's the next word, targeted. When you can target, like I said, the specific skills your child needs, you can do it within 5 to 10 minutes. You're just spacing it out throughout the week. Active recall kind of goes with this. We want our kids to be pulling up the skills that we're targeting in their brains. We're recalling it and pulling up the information frequently. The more we can have them pull it up, the stronger the connections are. It's really going to stick. I is for interleaving. And that's just a fancy way to say that we're not just focusing on one thing at a time. We can actually flip from one skill to the other. So it could be we're working on phonemic awareness, and then we're going to flip to letters and work on those. And then we're going to work on phonemic awareness again. And we're kind of bouncing back between things so that we are actively recalling, pulling up that information a lot. And then finally, reflection. So that means you're having your child think back and going, what did I learn? What do I still need to work on? And what's feeling easier and easier for me? If we can get these things in place, and hold on one second. If we can get these 5 things in place, your child's chance of holding on to this information into their brain is greatly increased. We do all of this inside of Miss Buddy Reads. You don't have to think about it at all. If you end up joining Miss Buddy Reads, let me tell you right now, it's good for you to know this, but we take care of it. We integrate all of these into the program immediately, so you don't have to worry, is this brain-based? Yes, all these things are going on. The second thing you need to make sure you're doing is you're being intentional. So the random apps, the random games, the random YouTube videos, they're fun and they're fine to do. But unless you know they're working intentionally on the skills your child needs, they're not going to do much to move the needle for your child's growth. So instead, what you need is you need to have an assessment. You need to have check-ins, assessments, ways to know that you're working on the right skills. How we do that inside of Miss Buddy Reads is we use something called our Glow and Grow assessment. It's a diagnostic assessment that points out the skills your child needs. And then throughout their time working with us, we use what we call our start and now brains. So at the beginning of every lesson, let's check and see where they are with this skill. At the end of every lesson, let's check and see where they are now with this skill. This way we can be very intentional. We're making choices based off data and not just, oh, like maybe this is what they should be working on, or hey, they say they're in first grade, so this is first grade stuff, so this is what they need, right? But if they're missing skills from before, we need to be intentional and work on those skills first. And finally, whether you have a neurodivergent child or not, you want something, I'm going to run out of room, that is neurodivergent friendly. You want something that works for all brain types, because sometimes we're just not aware yet that our child is neurodivergent. Did you know that 1 in 5 people are said to have dyslexia? 20%. A lot of people have dyslexia, and sometimes we just don't know it. Sometimes we don't know our kids have ADHD or autism or things. There are times we're not aware. So finding a solution and working on skills in a way that works for all types of brains, that's the way to go. And the beautiful thing is when you're using something called a structured literacy approach, that is proven to work for all brains, whether you have a typical brain, whether you have dyslexia, ADHD, autism, dysgraphia. And all this really means is that you're working on the skills in a way that is direct, in a way that is multisensory. That's a fancy teacher word, but it just means we're using different areas of your child's brain. We're having them see it and hear it and feel it and move their bodies and get different parts of their noggins moving and grooving. So when you can use that structured approach, we do in Miss Buddy Reads, we use what's called an Orton-Gillingham approach, and that is structured literacy. And we also integrate other multisensory aspects outside of just the Orton-Gillingham. We're getting so many different areas of your child's brain involved. It's incredible. When you can use a structured literacy approach, when you can be intentional with what you're working on, the skills your child needs, and when you're using an approach to work on these skills that is based on how the brain actually learns, your child will get to grade level. They can absolutely do it at home, and it can take 10 minutes or less a day. Now, like I said at the beginning, this is one of the 3 sides. We also need to be working on building your child's confidence and grit. And we also need to make sure the resources that you're using are really effective. When we can get those 3 things in place, man, your child is going to crush it with reading, with spelling, with their education, with school. You're going to see so many benefits. And let me tell you right now, if you're ready to get your roadmap put together for you, that is what we do inside of Miss Buddy Reads. We do all of this for you. We do the confidence and grit. We do the skills. We give you the resources that are quick, simple, and fun. And let me tell you right now, I've met so many parents. Let me rephrase this. I'm going to try that again. I have never met a parent that has regretted taking action. I have met many parents that have regretted not taking action. I've met many parents that have come to me and said, man, I wish I did this a year ago, because we would have had less pressure. My child would have been caught up sooner. School, we would have felt easier. We wouldn't have fought so much this last year. I've heard that time and time again. I've never heard a parent say, oh, I should have waited on this. Nope. So if you are sitting there going, okay, I know my child is missing some skills. They could use some support with that grit. Maybe they still fight with you and argue with you. And I really love resources that are simple because life is too busy. I need things that are quick because we have full plates. If that is you, I highly encourage you to click the button that's going to be around this video. I never know where they end up, but it goes around this video and it's going to share more about how Miss Buddy Reads works. It is an online program. It's completely self-paced. All you have to do is hit play, which I know you can do because you're watching this video. If you can watch this video successfully, you can do our program successfully. It lets me do all the teaching. I become Miss Buddy. It lets me teach your child about how their brain learns. I teach them that. I teach them about confidence. We go through exercises that helps them feel like they can do anything and accomplish anything in the world. It gives them that personalized interaction with me. So yes, it's self-paced and you can work anytime, but I'm still going to be sending videos back and forth with them, cheering them on, helping them get through those tricky skills. It is still me doing all the teaching. So you don't have to be teacher. You get to stay mom or dad. It's amazing. And like I said, sorry if that made a weird noise. Like I said, we've had 2,500 families in the past 2 years go through our program and get their kids reading at home in 10 minutes a day. And we know right now tutoring costs about $150 a session if you're going to get a qualified tutor. If I was going to tutor your child one-on-one, it'd be about $150 an hour. That's not possible for every family. And you shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg. And that is why to join Miss Buddy Reads today, if you jump in now, it is $37 a month for the whole family. So if you have more than one child who could benefit, they all can participate. For the price of what? One family meal at McDonald's these days. I think that's how much it costs to go to McDonald's and get a family meal for the entire month. That's a third of the cost of one session for tutoring. Like it is, oh my gosh, such a no-brainer. And just to make you feel 100% safe, we do have a 30-day guarantee. If within the first 30 days, if you show up and you try it and it is not the right fit, let us know and you'll get your $37 back. There's no risk for you. Only reward, only the watching your child start to thrive with their reading, build their confidence, know that you have resources that have been proven time and time again to get all types of readers on track. So go ahead, click that button that's going to be around this video. We went a little bit longer than I thought, but that's okay. This was fun. I love talking about this. And if you have any specific questions, I'm going to get rid of this. It's freaking out. If you have any specific questions, like, is this going to work for us? Anything, please email us hi@developingreadersacademy.com and we'll chat. But for now, jump in while it's still $37 because it won't always be $37 a month. Jump in now, lock in that rate, try it out, and let's get your kids reading. Thanks so much for joining me and have a great day.